One of the things that will trigger your spiritual, let me start again. One of the things that will trigger your spiritual awakening, it's like when your situation or your problems go overboard. It's like when you run away from who you really are, you know, now a spiritual awakening, it steps in, you know, to get you there. Like, for example, for a rich man, a spiritual awakening might happen for him because he had found wealth. Now, he did not find what he's looking for in that wealth. And then for another man, a spiritual awakening might be triggered because he's been rejected, and rejected from the things that he wanted to do or he wanted to be. Now comes a spiritual awakening. Now there are rules with this spiritual awakening now. There are things you are to do or things that is expected of you, which I want to talk about in this video. Yeah, hello people of the world. Welcome to Awaken the Ego. My name is Alula. I'm back with another video. Actually, this video right here is a video. This is the kind of videos that I want to do more often because this video might just have a solution for what you're going through right now. In fact, I'm going to be directing this video for the people who are in the thick of it, which is, what to do or how to do what is expected of you during your spiritual awakening, especially the dark night of the soul. I remember my season and the dark night of the soul. Let me tell you something. It was one of the hardest moments for me ever. Now, when you are in the thick of this spiritual awakening, especially the hard parts, one of the questions that will arise is that, man, how long am I going to be in this state? You know what I'm saying? Now, during your spiritual awakening, it's like you're cracked open for all your hidden issues to come to the surface. Now, in the past, you might have had things that you did, you know what I mean? Like drugs, like escape, like sex, whatever. To just escape from dealing with this problem. But then when this time comes, there is nowhere to run to. There is nothing to do. But, you know what I'm saying? To do what is expected of you. Like I said now, one of the questions that will arise is that, man, how long am I going to be in this state? You know what I mean? There'll be times where your things have come to the surface so much, it's hard for you to go out in the real world You know what I'm saying? And operate normally. You know what I mean? Now, there are people, guys, that stay stuck in the dark night of the soul for years and years and years. Even there are people that have gone crazy on this journey. Let me tell you something. If you do what is expected of you, then this whole thing will go better for you. Now, let's get down to the points. You know what I'm saying? Now, what is the first thing you ought to do on this journey of spiritual awakening, especially during your dark night? The first one is, guys, you got to surrender to the process. Now, the process is the process. The process will go according to the process. You know what I'm saying? Now, this process might not go the way you want. In fact, for me, this is one of the hardest things I had to deal with in the beginning. You know, because I was so used to go, 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 go. Now, here comes this dark night of the soul spiritual awakening that is making me just to sit put and just look at myself. This is so hard for my ego. My ego took so much hit right there. Oh my God, I'm gonna go broke. Oh my God, am I gonna get out of here? Oh my God, how am I gonna support myself? That's what you know what I'm saying, guys? What if I go broke? I mean, what if I go crazy? You know what I'm saying? Now, after I was in this state of panic for many months, I decided to think to myself, fuck it, let this bitch burn. I said, Lord, I don't know where you're taking me, but I'm gonna put my full trust in you. And I began to surrender to the whole process. And then the process went as it went. You know what I mean? One of the illusions of the ego is like to make you think that you have control, and that a spiritual awakening comes in the reality. Bang. You don't have control. You never had control. You never will. Just get used to this. You know what I'm saying? And it's a beautiful thing, in fact. You know what I'm saying? It's all right. What is the second thing you want to do on this journey of a spiritual awakening, especially during the dark night of the soul? The second one, guys, is you got to sit there with your emotions and just watch and not react. Now, you got to learn this art of not reacting, which is why meditation is important right here, guys. Now, during this time of spiritual awakening is a time where it's like you're cracked open, like everything comes to the surface. All your traumas begin to surface one by one. It's a beautiful thing that is happening for you, yes, but the process is so messy and heavy. All this anxiety, all these thoughts will arise in this stage right here, especially negative thoughts. And I would go to sleep and get up with like an emotion that's fully disturbing me. You know what I'm saying? Now, let me just say this. The best thing that is so helpful is to come out in nature. And most importantly, is also to practice meditation, like I said, because if you just sit there and watch your thoughts, actually, this is how it went right here. You know, I would get up with something that's like heavy on my mind. I stay with that emotion all day. You know what I mean? And I get up, I still might have that emotion. You know what I mean? And then that emotion is like it goes away. And then the more I was able to sit and just observe, the more my mind is getting clearer and clearer and clearer. Now, I'm so far away from that thought. Thank goodness. Alright, let's move on to the third point. What is the next thing that is expected of you during this spiritual awakening? Guys, it is, how can I put this? It is for you to disconnect, especially isolation. Now, one of the challenges that will come for you at this stage is that, especially if you're not financially sufficient, is you're gonna wonder how you're gonna be supporting yourself during this time, which will require for you to go out and make a living or earn, which requires a lot of interaction. Now at this time, this interaction will be so heavy for you because your nervous system is so sensitive. You know what I'm saying? Now what I would suggest in this area would be for you to take on a job which you would have to attend minimally, like as less as possible, and also a job does not require a lot of interaction. This time is an important time for you, you know what I'm saying, to really spend a whole lot of time with yourself. This is the time where a lot of releasing will happen for you. This is the time where a lot of reflection of what you're going to be doing moving forward. Therefore, it requires for you to go into isolation. All right, let me give you one more. And that is, actually, this is important. This is very, very important. And what is that? You just have to, guys, let go. Yeah, you have to let go. But this is not easy, guys. What I would suggest on this is, now there'll be times where certain emotions will arise for you, and you have to decide whether to entertain that emotion anymore or to release it and let it go. Now, if you make a decision in your mind that you don't want to be this way anymore and you want those emotions out of your life, then the process of releasing will start for you, and then it's a painful process, but it must be done. I was stuck in that area for the whole 2 years. Why? Because I was learning the art of releasing. Now allow me to close this video by giving you this story of this guy Sammy, this man that I used to know. This man, he wanted to create a life for himself based on the expectation of his family and society. Now, this guy Sammy, he tried to crack into this industry many times, but sadly, he was not able to do so. Now, after many attempts, it came time for Sammy to reflect on what he's doing, what he's going after, and also reflect on himself. You know what I'm saying? Now, Sammy was not able to let it go. Therefore, Sammy has lost his mind. You see what I'm saying? Now, he's on medication and so far away from himself. Why? Because he was not able to let go